Good morning and welcome to the Sunday History Rewind. I am Jim Lumley. It was President William Howard Taft in 1910 who started the tradition of presidents playing golf. And ever since then, most of our U.S. presidents, with the exception of a few, have enjoyed the game of golf. Probably the presidents that played the most golf during their time in the White House would be Barack Obama, Donald Trump, Woodrow Wilson, and Dwight D Eisenhower. But who were the best presidential golfers with the best handicaps? We'll find out today on the Sunday History Rewind.
Number 5. George W. Bush. The entire Bush family was important to the development of golf in the 20th century, so it was no surprise that the 43rd U.S. president and son of a Golf Hall of Fame inductee was keen on the sport. Like his father, George W. Bush is known as a fast player, but self-admittedly not as dedicated. He himself rated his golf game as mediocre, but he's widely acknowledged as a decent player. His swing has been described as that of an athlete, with great speed in it, and he reportedly once shot 77 at Augusta National. As president, he played to a 15 handicap, but quit golf when the Second Iraq War started. Since leaving the office, his handicap has improved to a solid 10 or even lower. Staying true to his family's involvement in advancing the sport, he is engaged in promoting it and hosts an annual golf event for wounded servicemen called the Warrior Open. Number 4. Bill Clinton. The 42nd president was unapologetic about his love for golf, and even joked that he was the only president whose handicap went down during a term in office. He reinstalled the White House putting green that Richard Nixon had removed, and it's known that he played around 400 rounds during his presidency. One time, he even played alone in pouring rain at the Army-Navy Country Club. He never shied away from skirting the rules every now and then, but his positive impact on the game is widely acknowledged, if anything, for how fun he made it look with his enthusiastic playing style and loud and consistent commentary. He was known to be able to break 90, especially using his crafty do-overs that eventually became known as billigans. After leaving the office, he lowered his handicap to 10. Lately, he hasn't had as much time for the game, but he's still active through his Clinton Foundation, which hosts the Humana Challenge PGA Tour event in California every January. Number 3. Dwight D Eisenhower. Everybody knew about the 34th president's golf obsession. He practiced every morning and even installed a putting green outside of the Oval Office. His friendship with the golf icon Arnold Palmer cemented this obsession, and they were said to have been two of the nation's most famous faces in the 50s and 60s while they played together. All of this raised golf to new levels of popularity and sparked an interest for the game with the general public. It was said that his devotion to golf was the greatest thing that ever happened to the game, and the number of golfers in America more than doubled during his presidency. Eisenhower was an overall good athlete and played the linebacker position in the Army, but his golf playing never amounted to a handicap below the mid-teens. Despite this, he was always a dedicated player and took every opportunity to sneak in around. As a player, he was described as a congenital slicer with an adequate short game and an unreliable putter. Unsurprisingly, he was eventually inducted into the World Golf Hall of Fame in the Lifetime Achievement category. According to many, he was the one who established golf as the sport of presidents. It didn't come without a fair share of criticism, though, but this didn't deter him in the slightest. In his 8 years in the office, he played 800 rounds of golf. In that time, he broke 80 4 times, and might have managed it more often if not for one pine tree that he kept complaining about. A fellow Hall of Fame member said of him, "Probably few men in the long history of the game have ever been bitten by the golf bug as badly as the president." Number 2. George H.W. Bush. George H.W. Bush, the 41st U.S. president as well as the 43rd vice president, was one of the most avid presidential golfers. He allegedly got his handicap down to 11 at some point, and was inducted into the World Golf Hall of Fame in 2011, 2 years after Eisenhower, in the Lifetime Achievement category. He was best known for being a fast player, and one of his greatest contributions to the game might have been his commitment to fast play. Another Hall of Fame member said about him, "You put your track shoes on when you're playing with him." He was decades ahead of his time with his affinity for what he called speed golf, and he considered any round longer than 3 hours as too long. Heritage also played a great role in making the former president the passionate player that he was. No other president except for his son had such a rich golf tradition in their family. His grandfather, George Herbert Walker, was the president of the U.S. Golf Association, and he also founded the Walker Cup, a competition between the top amateurs in the US and UK that takes place twice a year. It's still one of the most popular events for amateur golf players in the world. His father, Prescott Bush, was also a former president of the US Golf Association, and he frequently played with Eisenhower before being elected to the US Senate. He was a great player too, winning the Cape Arundel Golf Club Championship 8 times. It was at that golf club that George H.W. Bush grew up learning the game. After his presidency, he got even more involved with the game and was given just about every award there is for achievements and contribution to the sport. He was as enthusiastic about promoting golf as he was about playing it. He was the first honorary chairman and an active promoter of the First Tee, one of the most wide-ranging youth outreach programs in the country. The program managed to reach almost 5 million participants all over the U.S. Ever the golf enthusiast, Bush, when receiving the Bobby Jones Award at the age of 83, said, "Golf has meant a lot to me. It means friendship, integrity, and character." Number 1. Donald Trump. Whether you love him or hate him, the 45th U.S. president knows his way around a golf course. Like with previous presidents, his passion for the game has earned him a fair share of criticism. Since becoming president, he has played more than 150 rounds, often spending his weekends at Mar-a-Lago in South Florida, playing with the likes of Tiger Woods, Dustin Johnson, Lexi Thompson, and Jack Nicklaus. His family's golf business owns countless golf courses in both the US and other countries, like Scotland, Ireland, and the United Arab Emirates. This background probably helped with the discovery of his passion for the sport and encouraged him to take on the challenge of learning it all on his own. His self-taught swing has been described as remarkably consistent and the best part of his game. Tiger Woods praised his skill and endurance given his age, saying, "People don't realize he's that old and he can rip it and hit it as fast as he does." Much like Bill Clinton, though, he doesn't seem to be that adamant about fair play. A lot of people have commented on his underhanded methods, still acknowledging that he's a great player for his age. One of the biggest testaments to his skill is his self-declared handicap. Some have said it seems a bit too good to be true. His declared handicap of 2.8 is lower than Jack Nicklaus's 3.4, who's thought of by many as the greatest golfer of all time. Either way, with his 19 club championship wins and the confidence to match it, Trump would easily make it into any presidential golfer top list. Honorable mentions. John F. Kennedy. The 35th president has been considered by many as the most talented golfer among the U.S. presidents, but his bad back and Addison's disease limited his ability to fully realize his enormous potential. Despite his chronic back pain, he was an overall good athlete and played with Harvard University's golf team. He averaged 80 and was probably about a 14 to 15 handicap, but those who watched him play have said that he would have easily carried a single-digit handicap if he had spent the time. He had a powerful, fluid swing, and he liked fast playing. Before he was elected as president, he played at Cypress Point, where he nearly made a hole-in-one by hitting a 5-iron that touched the flagstick and dropped just inches from the cup. Kennedy had to take particular care with keeping his rounds private, since the public view on golf as a sport of the privileged was more entrenched at the time than today. The perfect place for that was Burning Tree, the most private club in Washington, where many other presidents played the sport. It has been said that he was by far the most athletic golfer among the presidents who played there. Barack Obama. An avid player of golf, as well as basketball, the 44th president played more than 330 rounds of golf during his 8 years in office. He has said that his handicap is around 13 and doesn't hold back on criticism of his own skill when asked about it. But he has remained interested in the sport nevertheless. During his presidency, he did not express as much interest for private clubs in the Washington area as other golfing presidents, but rather played at military courses at Fort Belvoir and Andrews Air Force Base.